This is a Haag-Streit axle with bearings. Trace went too far past the axle, so we lost bearings. So I'm going to have to try to put them back in. You can buy a pre-made roll of bearings for $100, or you can put them back in. They're 4mm. There's 60 bearings all total, 30 on each side. And what we're going to do is got to put something in here to help you keep it round while you're putting bearings in. And one thing you could use is heat shrink. It's flexible. This is an 1/8 inch size. And if you get it long enough, you can go through both sides in case if your bearings are out on both sides. Something to keep your cylinder round while you're slipping your bearings in. So I'm using 1/8 inch, and here I'm going to put in about 4 or 5 to keep it spread out. Now the way to get these bearings in, on your wheel there's a little notch, and it fits into your axle where there's a little notch here. Well, that's where we're going to slip our bearings through the notch. So you've got to try to keep your bearing trace round. And what we're going to do, we're going to slip a bearing in the first row, and then once it's in, we'll push it to the second row. And we'll do every other one till we go all the way around, and then we can fill in the gap on the first row. These are 4mm bearings. Line it up with our notch. Push. We'll push our bearing trace a little bit further so we can push our bearing into the second row. Okay, once you have your first bearing in, push the axle past, and then turn it. Turn it. We'll skip one. We'll do the next one. Put a bearing in our track. Push our trace forward to get one in the first row. Push it a little bit further to get it into our second row. Push our axle forward so we don't lose what we've got. Turn it. Skip one. Repeat the process. Push the axle so you don't lose it. Turn it. Skip one. Line it up. See, I'm pushing the bearing trace past just enough so that my bearing can get closer to the hole while I'm pushing at the same time. I don't want to push too far because I'll lose these bearings back here. Just pushing it just enough for that next row to clear. Push my axle, turn, do another one. Now notice I'm pushing this slowly as I'm pushing this way, the opposite way, to get that bearing into that second track. Push the axle, turn. We have one all the way around, so we can go ahead and remove our heat shrink. Now if you were doing both sides, you could just slip your heat shrink out of the way, but still remain on the other side so that it would stay round. But since we're round, we've got a bearing in every other hole, we don't need our helping heat shrink. Okay, now, being careful, we're going to fill in the gap. Basically, you keep doing this, and once you have the first row in, then you work. Then you would do your first row. I'm about out of battery on my camera, so you may lose me, but you get the idea. You have to concentrate. Okay. We have our first row, second row the same way. We just put one in, go all the way around, and you'd get it. Once you have it, put your ring back on so that you don't lose them again. I think you can do it.